G'day, guys and gal. I am a man of my word. For example, a Space Marine hentai piece is currently being commissioned for my patrons because you guys gave me the 5,000 likes and 50,000 views that I needed in order to commission it. Another example is the fact that in my Tyranids Explained video, which is now age restricted for some reason that I can't possibly fathom, I promised that if that video hit 30,000 views and 3,000 likes, that I would make a follow-up video where I basically just outline every single type of Tyranid out there. Better late than never, you know. As a side note, my voice has either really changed a lot in the last year, or I've gained a lot more confidence talking into a microphone, cause god damn, 2019 Major Kill's voice makes me cringe. Before we get started, as we were approaching 100,000 subscribers, you guys were demons. I was getting over 10,000 subscribers a month. That kind of momentum would have seen me catch up to One Mind Syndicate's tight conjoined asshole within the year. Well, it's kinda slowed down now, as I got complacent after hitting 100,000 subscribers and stopped offering everyone sexual favors in exchange for internet ego validation points. I reckon we could get it going again, so if you crack a smile or laugh at any point in this video or just hate Erebus, then consider chucking me your subscription. I am a weird person, and my weirdness only grows with every click of that naughty red button I get, so slap it like I slap Timmy's ass on Tuesdays. Today we'll go over each and every Tyranid form there is, and how they could seriously ruin your day. We'll even go over the niche as horrifying ones that are too spooky for the tabletop, or just don't exist because GW is weird and lazy and hasn't released a Tyranid model in over 6 years. We'll also talk about some of the unique one-off nids that are out there, because it's nice to highlight that despite being a hive mind with no personality, there is still uniqueness among the space bugs of death. Let's get into it. I want to work from the bottom and get to the top, just like my YouTube career. So the first nid on this list is one I've only seen once in the lore and are arguably the most horrifying of all the nids. There isn't a name for them, so I'll just call them the little shits. Basically, when a Tyranid bioship devours your ship, it needs to digest it for reasons. Hence, it will drop stomach acid all over it. In that stomach acid lives the little shits, small worms that will infest every orifice of your body and eat you from the inside out. Now, we could be like, so horrific, those nids truly are the enemy. However, we do the exact same thing, as the little shits are basically a scaled up version of our own stomach bacteria. We are the real monsters. Now on to the next Tyranid type. Despite its small size and cute nickname, the Rippers. By themselves, a Ripper is about as threatening as a human nugget having a psychotic episode, but they are never alone, and often come in endless hordes numbering thousands or more. Now just like a tide of psychotic nugget men, a Ripper horde is a massive threat, as they will bury you and your cat in an ocean of teeth. Imagine asshole land piranhas. Actually, piranhas are already assholes. Imagine stanky asshole land piranhas. That is the Ripper for you. Next up we have the Gaunts, which are basically highly versatile rank and file Tyranids. Their diversity is insane, and really puts our society to shame when it comes to racial tolerance. Despite being a mindless parasite, even the Tyranids know that everyone has a purpose no matter what mutation they're given. Plus, they consume all biomass indiscriminately, so yeah, hive mind for US President, who's with me. The Gaunts can wield Flesh Borers, which are guns that shoot asshole beetles that eat your flesh. They wield Devourers, which are guns that shoot asshole worms that eat your brain. Scything Talons, which are asshole knife hands. Spine Fists, which are shoot spikes that target your central nervous system. Strangle Webs, which shoot spider webs that constrict around you and crush you slowly. And finally, the Spike Rifles, which are harpoon guns. Did I mention that all Tyranid weapons are loaded with toxins, so that even if it's not a direct hit, you're probably still going to die anyway, relatively slowly. You know, for a faction of aliens which aren't supposed to be malicious but instead driven by the instinct to feed and survive, they really have some malicious weapons. Often these weapons are a part of the Tyranid, hence the subspecies of Gaunts are determined by what weapons they hold. The most notable ones are the Gargoyles, which have wings, Gaunts, which have the scything talons and can spring at you like a demonic kangaroo, Spine Gaunts, which are Gaunts that use spine fists, no shit. Then there's like another dozen or two Gaunt types, but they're not that important, so I'm just going to speed run through them now. Termagaunt, Night Gaunt, Death Gaunt, Hell Gaunts, Terror Gaunts, Slash Gaunts, Razor Gaunts, Cruci Gaunts, Exi Gaunts, Mal Gaunts, Morty Gaunts, Render Gaunts, Proto Gaunts, Pyro Gaunts, Lash Gaunts, Geno Gaunts, Toxi Gaunts. The names are pretty self-explanatory for the most part. I'm not the kind of channel to make a 3-part series about the variations of a fucking Gaunt, so that's all you're getting. Next up, we have the Gene Stealers and their hybrids. Now, despite sounding like a funky group of thieves who specialise in removing your denim pants, they're actually way more sucky than that. Gene Stealers are the Tyranid Vanguards. They are subtle, insidious creatures that work to infect and take over planets in preparation for the arrival of a hive fleet. See, Tyranid hive fleets don't like war and battle, they just like devouring. A united planet makes for a difficult target, and they can often end up losing more biomass than they gain from attacking them, hence they sent out the Gene Stealers. The first one being a special lad called a Broodlord, who sneak onto planets, make out with a few people, infect them with DNA that makes them a slave to the hive mind as well as incredibly horny, and then they fuck their way through the planet, spreading the Gene Stealer DNA until they become numerous or influential enough to stage an uprising on the planet, all the while projecting the planet's location psychically to the hive mind. These Gene Stealer hybrids worship the Tyranids as star gods who are coming to save them. However, the truth is that they just become low resistance food as well. The purebred Gene Stealers are unsubtle and powerful, whilst the Gene Stealer hybrids are similar to normal humans, except they have a hard-on for anything with forearms and a big jaw. Next up, we have the unexcitingly named Tyranid Warriors, which are basically just an upgrade of the Tyranid Gaunt in every way. They're bigger, stronger, and I would say even more attractive, if you've watched enough tentacle hentai. The only thing that Gaunts have over the Tyranid Warriors is that they have way more diversity. But you could also argue that that's actually a negative. The Tyranid Warriors come in the Huntsman variety, the Lasher variety, and the Shrike variety. Now, there are differences, but the differences are like choosing what hole you get raped in. Either way, you're gonna have a shit one. Onwards and upwards, we now have the Lichters, who are the Tyranid equivalent to assassins. They are silent, can go invisible, and will stalk their prey patiently. Unlike all the other Tyranids that just start autistically ring before Naruto running in. They are also unique in the fact that they work by themselves, leaving a trail of pheromones to lead other Tyranids to them. So even if you kill a Lichter, there's probably a whole bunch of his asshole mates on their way to Nomanya. Notable Lichters include the Blood Slinker, who was hunted down and killed by some space wolves, as well as the Death Leaper, who was a massive asshole. He was on a planet assassinating some Imperials when he realized that if he killed the planet's spiritual leader, it would just increase the level of the resolve of the planet. Hence every night for 10 nights, the Death Leaper would infiltrate the Cardinal's bunker, slaughter his friends and guards in front of him, then leave him alive. By the 10th night, the Cardinal had been driven insane, and the planet was very easy peasy Japanesey for the Tyranids to consume. From here on out, most of the Tyranids are equally as powerful, but just fulfill different purposes. The next nid on this list are the Biovores, which are like tanky artillery pieces. They shit out spawn mines that land near the enemy and detonate when they detect nearby non-Tyranid life forms. Interestingly enough, the Biovores were created by using the genetic information taken from orcs. From then, now we have the Horrifying Trigons, which are just like massive arsehole snake worms that burrow behind enemy lines and randomly emerge beneath you, chowing you down like ramen. The one thing worse than a horde of horrifying aliens that want to eat you is a horde of horrifying aliens that want to eat you but you can't see coming. When the Trigons burst through the ground like fucking death worms, the tunnels they create solidify, meaning non-Trigons can come through the ground as well. If you didn't already think these guys sucked enough, then sometimes they will hollow out the ground, so if you step on the wrong spot, you fall through the ground and into the mouth of a hungry Trigon. After the Trigon, we have the Revenants, which are pretty much just Trigons that can sense electrical waves and track them. The bane of hentai watchers across the galaxy, the Revenants are pretty much just another example of the Tyranids being excessively OCD and needing to have a bug for every situation. The Tyranids have numerous flying boys. No shit, good luck trying to compete against an array of advanced civilizations without being able to fly. One of the most powerful of these are the Hive Crones, which are like those weird vegan dragons from Avatar. They dive bomb at your ship and tear you to shreds, or just rip enough holes in your craft till you call Mayday, Mayday. Once they have torn through your fleet, they'll start dropping the equivalent of a carpet bomb upon your ground forces. I'm really not sure how the Tyranids keep losing most of their battles, like, bruh, they pretty much always outnumber their enemy and have a Tyranid for every situation. The struggles of not having named characters, I suppose. Next up are the Dimacherion. Damn, I'm getting good at pronouncing shit. Not. These Tyranids are an incredibly powerful combat form whose sole purpose is to kill your boss. They are kept back until the Nids identify either the leader of their enemy or just the most powerful dude there. Or chick, I guess, but mostly dude. They then beeline at them, killing everything in their path until they reach their target, at which point they will then drink them like a smoothie, gaining more power. Epic. Next up we have a psychic Tyranid, called the Zoanthropes, which do actually seem to show off the hive mind's limits. Fucking with the warp is not usually a clever thing to do, however when done correctly allows you to wield a powerful weapon. The hive mind knows this, hence developed the Zoanthropes. Levitating Stephen Hawking looking dudes, they are physically one of the weakest Tyranids, however their psychic powers more than make up for this. Sporting a massive head, these floaty boys shoot lightning and other whack shit left, right and centre. However, due to such a crude use of the warp, their brains often explode mid-battle. Good thing the Tyranids have pretty much an infinite number of these to throw at you, eh? A more powerful version of the Zoanthropes is the Neurothrope, who tend to explode less and are more of a pain in the ass in general. It's theorized that these were created from the Tyranid experiment that destroyed an entire craft world. One of the prototype Neurothropes got into the craft world's infinity circuit, devoured a bunch of souls, then got so OP that it could take on the entire Eldar army defending it. Nice. Zoanthropes and Neurothropes were made with the help of Eldar DNA. Getting even tougher now, we have the Carnifexes, literal tanks. These hulking Tyranids curb stomp their way through the battlefield, flailing around their massive array of fat weaponry. They do partake in a fair amount of diversity themselves, however this only really extends to what combination of weaponry they are using to ruin everyone's day. A unique Carnifex is Old One Eye, who is kind of invincible. Its eye was blown out and his brain scrambled during a battle against the Ultramarines, yet he was able to heal from that and cause havoc until he was once again shot in the eye and had his brain scrambled. But then he recovered again and now he's a massive pain in the ass across Ultramar. Now onto the Turvagon, which are the pretty expensive unit for the Tyranids to run. This is because they use that biomass to not only produce a variant of the Gaunts inside them, but they also stay awake when the Tyranid fleets are travelling through the void of space, and act as guards that can quickly wake up the fleet if someone rudely awakens them. 9 out of 10 times, this rude person will be the Silent King. If you kill a Turvagon, then the psychic backlash will also send the nearby Gaunts he spawned to the graveyard as well. So yeah, if you see some Nids near a Turvagon and you only have one rocket, then you should blow yourself up with it. Or, if you like being violently eaten, then aim for the Turvagon. We all have toxic people in our lives, but none of them are as toxic as the Toxcrini. Now, to its credit, out of all the Tyranids, this one looks the most like a tentacle hentai monster. While it can smack you with its tentacles, the Toxcrini prefers to just gas your ass with a toxic cloud of malicious microorganisms. Makes sense? They can use this toxic cloud to terraform planets, mask a Tyranid approach, or just, kill the shit out of you. Moving on, we now have the Haru Spek, who, pardon my French, is a fat motherfucker. All they do is eat. They aren't meant to be frontline Vanguard warriors, but if you choose to put them there, then the enemy's gonna have a shit one, as the mouths of these boys can fit many an unfortunate guardsman or even space marine within it. The Haru Spek is also bulimic and will vomit up the contents of its stomach before then going back on a rampage of consumption once again. Next up is the Exocrine. I'm not pronouncing any of these fucking names right, doesn't matter. Shh, doesn't matter. Every alien race has something that looks like a cock. For the Tyranids, it's the Exocrine, which are walking Tyranid mortars. Not really much else to say about them, to be honest. It's a big gun and it looks like a dick. Getting more serious now, we have the Tyranofex, which if you couldn't already tell by its name, is a large boy who doesn't muck about. They are to the Tyranids what the Imperial Knights are to the Imperium. Huge walking tanks that put the Carnifexes to shame. They are an upgrade in every way bar one. They suck at melee. Can't really blame them, it doesn't look easy to pull off jujitsu when you're a giant spider crab alien who has to haul a heavy ass gun around. Next up is the Tyrant Guard who, you guessed it, defends the Hive Tyrant. They are stupid, blindly loyal, and very tanky. Makes sense, they were created using Space Marine DNA after all. They are okay in a fight, but their real goal is to just eat damage for whatever they are protecting. Or if their master dies, they enter into a rampage to try to take out whatever ruined their very simple purpose in life. It would be rude not to mention the Hive Tyrant next. These are the cream of the crop of the Tyranid forces, the commander of the Tyranid armies and the strongest unit they have. They are also immortal as, if they die, their consciousness is just transplanted into a new Hive Tyrant body. This sounds overpowered, but then you realise it basically means the Riders can kill the Hive Tyrants off whenever they want without a worry for the world, as they always come back, leading to a lot of situations where something like the Swarm Lord, the most powerful of the Hive Tyrants, have been unceremoniously killed in fights that easily should have won when, matched up against named Space Marines. They are supposed to be the pinnacle of Tyranid intelligence, yet when the Swarm Lord was about to kill Dante and beat the Blood Angels, it just stood there for a second and then roared, allowing Dante to blow it to pieces with his overpowered handgun. To be fair though, I like Dante a lot more than I like the Swarm Lord, so it is what it is. Doesn't matter. Everyone needs a side piece, even the Tyranids, hence they have the Norn Queens, who are similar to female Skaven in the way that they exist purely to pump out warriors. Fortunately for the Norn Queens, they don't have to get excessively raped in order to do this, unlike the less fortunate female Skaven. Norn Queens also get to pick and choose how to evolve their Tyranids and can experiment with them. It's like playing R-rated Spore. If the Norn Queen dies, the High Fleet is pretty screwed as they are the brains of the operation, and a Tyranid without direction just becomes like an Australian animal. Terrifying, but can be dealt with. Everything about the Tyranids is alive. Their guns are organisms, as are their bullets and transports. Their starships are no different, aptly called bioships. They fulfill all the normal roles of a normal High Fleet would, other than the fact that their ships can eat you. They have hive ships, which are their capital ships, devourers, which are like their heavy cruisers, void prowlers, which are like their light cruisers, razor fiends, which are just like their normal cruisers, krakens, which are like their frigates, Tyrannocytes, which are like their dropships, escort drones, which are like their destroyers, and finally their narvals, which are ships that are essential for the Nid fleets traveling faster than light. That's all they do. It will be cool to see the animation about the Blood Angels versus the Tyranids that GW is putting out soon. It will show off a lot of the Tyranid space combat, so I'm quite interested. Last but definitely not least, we have the Biotitans. I'm glad that all the Xenos' response to the Imperium having Titans was to build their own Titans to fight them. Firstly, there is the Hierophant, which is the largest of the Tyranid forces and fulfills the role of heavy shock and damage. They have no weak spot beyond bombing the ever-living shit out of them. Another Biotitan is the Haridan, which, while they aren't as big as Hierophants, can fly, which sucks for you. The Haridan can vary in size, but the bigger ones are upwards of 30 meters in length and will bomb you, smash you, eat you, or fuck you, or maybe all of it at once. The next Biotitan is the Dactylus, which is just a large, more overpowered version of the Biovore. And finally, we have the Dominatrix Biotitan, which, while that sounds like a good time, is once again definitely not. They are the most powerful of the Biotitans and are incredibly intelligent and well armed. They can boost the power of Tyranids all around them or even carry Norn Queens on their backs if the Tyranids are feeling especially cocky. The biomass and effort required to make the Dominatrix is so immense that the Tyranids rarely feel the need to. There are a lot of Tyranids. All of them can kill you. And that does us for today, guys. All the different types of Tyranids explained. If you enjoyed the video and want to support the channel, then Patreon is the place to be, with only $1 per month giving you access to a boatload of Warhammer hentai, including that Tyranid piece that got me in shit. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the real subscribe button for more edible content. Join the Discord for more memes, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.